start posting content about this here stuff I do. And right now I'm about to do a podcast. So welcome to the podcast. Hey guys, it's Bruce. Welcome to ConvoCourses podcast, and we're going to continue. And I think this is going to be the last part of our continuous series about NIST CSF. I figured the best way to teach you guys about GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, is to show you, to walk you through a well-known framework. And so this framework, unlike many other frameworks, is made so that it's flexible. You can apply it to any kind of system, medium, large, small, in any kind of industry. And we're on we're on the last part of the functions within the NIST CSF. If you've been following along, we talked about govern, we talked about identify, protect, we talked about detect, we talked about response, and now we're going to talk about recover. So let's get into this. All right. And if you have questions for me about getting into GRC, about getting into cyber, if you happen to be an IT professional, that's my specialty. I can show you how to get into this. Hold your questions till after this. Take me about 15 minutes, and then get your questions ready in that time. All right, let's do this. So this is what we're going to talk about, recover. So this is something that every organization should have. You should have something in your organization where you anticipate a disaster, anticipate mishaps, anticipate breaches or whatever, and you have to recover from a point where your functions or your mission or your business is not doing well because the system crashed, because there was a natural disaster, whatever it is. An organization has to be prepared for whatever comes next, and that's what recover is all about. And that's one of the things that's special about the NIST CSF, is that it's preparing your organization to govern properly, to identify assets in your environment, to protect what you've identified in your environment, to identify and protect your vulnerabilities that you find in your environment. It also has something where you're responding to incidents that might occur and how to identify those incidents and then recover from those incidents if you were hit by those. So here we go. Going into what is recovery, what kinds of things do you need to do in recovery. So from a high level view, what we're going to cover is diverse incident preparation, because you have different types of incidents in your organization and you need to be ready for those. We're going to talk about prioritizing critical functions, because you're not recovering the entire system. Sometimes number one, you want to prioritize. So even if you're going to bring everything up, you want to bring certain things up first if your system has gone down. Regular testing and refinement. So let's get into the subcategories. NIST CSF has functions, but it also has subcategories within those functions. And subcategory is kind of like a security control. That's the best way to explain it. Security control is like a password, making sure you have password protection, or making sure you have physical security protection. Those are security controls, and subcategories goes into each one of those different things. So that's why it's very similar to security control. So let's get in the first one. So RCRP1, which is executing the recovery plan. So what does this mean? An organization needs to have a recovery plan. That means that if your system goes down, you have a plan for everything. It's kind of like Batman. Like Batman, no matter what happens, he has a way to recover from everything. He's already thought about how you're going to act. What he's gonna do to respond. And so that's kind of what you have to have in place. How are you going to recover if something goes down? You need to have this clearly documented in your organization. You need to communicate and notify all the relevant people when the system goes down. You have to have a plan in place. So here's what we're going to do. Here's the people you're going to recover. And you need to ensure that all these people are authorized to do what they're about to do. So authorization, all of this needs to be, once you have the document, it needs to be signed off by the proper authorities in your organization. It's very important that it's backed up by the organization. So an example of this would be a company called Data Secure. And the way they have a process where they're going to they have a containment phase, and this is all written out in their documentation. And in this containment phase, they're going to take the identified incident, the security incident, if there was a breach or malware got into their network or whatever, and then they're going to contain it. And that's going to be contained by the response team. They have a response team, and they're going to contain that. And then another part of their planning is that they're going to gather everybody together. If there's other people that are on call for different types of disasters, they're going to call them in. They're going to notify all the responsible staff that have to do these different tasks. So that's an example of an organization having a process in place that's ready for, if let's say there was a data center, Data Secure is a data center in California, and they're right on the fault line. So they have earthquakes all the time, and they're aware of them. But in the event that there's a big earthquake where they have to evacuate the building, they have to turn off the power, right? They're prepared for that. They have a document that's going to go through their containment phase, their initiation phase, their notification phase, and access granted. So that's the type of thing you would have for your recovery plan. So let's get into RCRP2, prioritization of your recovery actions. So think of it like this. If you had a large organization has a bunch of laptops, has a bunch of mobile devices, has a bunch of systems, right? But your most important systems are your servers. Most important systems are your servers, and maybe the routers that connect the servers to the network, and the external network and the internal network. All of your most important data that you use to do your business or your mission is on these specific servers, and the data is coming in and out on the routers and switches that are attached to it. So you know right away. So if these servers go down, if these routers and servers go down, you're done. Your mission's done. Your business is done. You've got to bring those systems up first in the event that, in the case of Data Secure, they're on the fault line. They have a 7.6 earthquake, God forbid, and they have to turn off all their systems and all that stuff. The main thing that needs to come back up when they do recover, when the earthquake is done, they need to bring up those servers first. Now, we're not saying that the laptops and the mobile devices are not important at all. They are important, but there's a pecking order, because we know that our main functionality is going to be on those specific servers and those routers. So how are we going to define what has the highest priority? And this is what's breaking that down. So the NIST CSF RCRP02 is breaking this, how you would go about doing this. And it's important that the organization has their own method. One of the great things about the NIST CSF is it's not telling you exactly what to do. It's not prescriptive. It's telling you should have this, and then the organization is responsible for building out how that's going to get done. So in this case, you're going to define the criteria. You're going to establish the criteria, or the things that you need to prioritize. You need to prioritize essential systems. Maybe it's that the information is sensitive. Maybe it is that the system must remain available at all times. So the not only is the servers important, but the connectivity to the system is important. So your organization is gonna define that criteria of what makes it a priority and what makes it important. Another thing that you're gonna do is assess the impact. If this system goes down, what is the impact? And that gets right into the difference between your workstations that all your end users have versus your server. The impact is, there's going to be an impact for both of those. For your workstations out there, your endpoint devices, there's going to be an impact if those systems go down, right? And there's going to be an impact if the servers go down. But which one has the greatest impact to your mission or your business? And that's going to be what's going to help you to prioritize which one's more important that needs to come up, needs your immediate attention when those systems need to come back up. Resource allocation. Another thing we're going to do is once we help us prioritize, we're going to figure out, once we know like which one is going to come up, which one gets the priority of the resources, which one gets the electricity first, which one gets funding first, which one gets our time and attention first, where are resources being allocated to bring that system up first so we can recover quickly, and then how are we going to execute those actions. So for this, you will usually have like a what's called a standard operating procedure, is what is called in some organizations. I've been in organizations where they call it something else, like they'll call it a work instruction or something, a process that breaks down how we're going to bring the system up, steps 1 through 20 or 1 through 5 or whatever it is. All right. And I'm seeing people trickle in here, and I will address this. I'll talk to you guys directly. Just get your questions ready because we're going to finish this real quick. And I'm not going to go through every single category or subcategory. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what this is all about. Okay, I gave you some examples of that one. So let's move on to RCRP3, verifying backup integrity. So backups are super important to recovery, obviously, but it's equally important to verify that the backups work properly. To restore the backups. It's one thing to back up the systems, but it's a whole nother thing to make sure that they're back there. When you come up, they're number one, they come up, and then number two, they're not already compromised. So how would you do this? So RCRP3 is addressing that. You're going to implement checks. You might run scans on the backups that you've collected. Scans for malware, scans for data integrity. So sometimes in the event that a system goes down, it'll have corrupt data. The data didn't go down properly. When the system went down, it crashed. Like the actual hard drive crashed, and it was in the middle of writing or reading data. And sometimes what happens is the data gets corrupt. So one of the things you want to scan for is the data still usable? Do we have a backup data? Where do we restore from, and where can we come back? How can we come back from this? So you would run a scan to figure out what parts of the system disk, the actual physical hard drive, is it, are there any issues with that physical disk? You're going to scan for malware, things like that. So that's verifying backup integrity. Another thing that we cover is in the NIST CSF is RCRP04, establishing post-incident operational norms. So what the hell does that mean? So we'll break it down. So prioritizing critical functions. We're going to identify and prioritize mission critical functions for restoration. This is really important, and we cover this in some of the other categories. In identify, we kind of cover this when we're talking about identifying business functions or mission functions. And then in GV or govern, you're also having to identify critical functions. This is something that's done in many of the more robust frameworks where they take the time to say, okay, we need a control that identifies a security control or control that that forces the organization to say, here's our mission. This is what we do. And this is critical. It's really important that leadership understands what's their main moneymaker versus all the other supporting tasks that are going on. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about prioritizing critical functions. Another thing is risk management. This is another one that's addressed throughout NIST CSF and in different functions, where what we're doing is considering the current security posture of the organization. And in this case, when we're covering, we're looking at, can we get back to the same state of operation that we were in before we had the crash, before the system went down, before the breach? We need to be back to where we were before we went down. So risk management is, when we're dealing with recovery, is focusing on that particular thing. Performing a performance monitoring restoring systems, monitor restored systems to confirm that they meet operational requirements. So what we're saying here is podcast. Great. Thank you. We're monitoring. We bring up the system. We're monitoring to make sure that all of our primary functions have come up properly. I'm trying to give you a specific example of this. So on some systems that I've worked on, very, very important systems dealing with lots of sensitive information, they'll have important things that need to be done with that data. There'll be processing that needs to be done on the data. The data needs to be sent out to different places. And it's usually pretty simple. It's a basic in out. There's a data, we take data in, we do some processing, we send it out. And then there's tasks that we have to do. Maybe we have to process the data to figure out, to identify a certain thing. Those tasks of identifying those processes, those algorithms that we're using, the script or code that we're using to identify certain, I'm trying to give you a specific example without like, let's say fraud detection. Let's say you had a system that did fraud detection and you have your data that comes in, your basic in data comes in, all kinds of customers, all these different incidents are coming into your database. And then you have a system that's looking at all the data to see certain anomalies or certain patterns that's looking for possible fraud, right? And that is the main mechanism of your mission. Let's say our business is run off of detecting fraud. That's what we do. We service hundreds of clients all over the world, and we're looking at and constantly monitoring their accounts so that we're looking for certain anomalies that will indicate that it's fraud. Our system goes down. We have to recover our system back to where it was, right? So when we're monitoring our system as it's coming back up, we want to make sure that all of the main scripts that we're using to find the anomalies are working properly. And that's what we're talking about here. We want our system to be at the same level it was before it went down. So these are just some of the things that you'll do in the NIST CSF. All of this that I'm doing, the reason I've been doing this week to week for free is that I'm promoting a program that I'm putting together where I'm going to be going through this in great detail, walking you through it. It's more detailed, and in some cases, I'm telling you I'm giving you projects where you're going to be working through some of these things, like not only just telling you here's what you do, but now you do it. I'm going to walk you through the things in GRC that you're doing to be NIST CSF compliant. All right, let me get into some comments and see who's all. I'm looking at TikTok here. And just so you guys know, there's a lot of courses and stuff out there. There's a lot of programs. Very few people who actually teach this are in the field. Sometimes they're influencers. They're great influencers. The difference is I'm doing this. I really do this. This is not the main thing I do is I'm an information system security officer for the government. I do GRC work for the government. I do this in real life. So if you want some real opinion, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm going to tell you my real experience and what you can expect in this field. So this is a great opportunity to ask questions from somebody who's really doing this. I'm not gonna I don't have anything to gain by lying to you, right? More than likely, you're not my audience. If you hear the truth, it sounds like it's on the same path as you, then you're my audience. I got nothing to gain by blowing smoke up your ass. So just if you have any question whatsoever about getting into information security, cybersecurity, IT, I can help you out. And I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to tell you flat out, this is not for everybody. it can get very stressful, to be honest with you. Cybersecurity. I know a lot of people are flocking to this because they think it's easy. They think it's because it's non-technical. You're not doing a lot of math and stuff. That's true. That's a pro in some people's eyes. You're not writing code or anything like that. But I will tell you this: like, it's stressful in other ways. Like, it's stressful in that you do have to, first of all, you do have to know some technical. Okay, you do have to know some technical, but it's stressful in that sometimes you're dealing with different, all of these different aspects of your organization. You're talking to the technical people, you're talking to your peers who are also cybersecurity people, you're talking to upper level management, and you have to speak their language. And then sometimes they're coming at you in different, you've got to have a lot of emotional intelligence to navigate this. Because if you're, I've done pure technical stuff before, and I'm telling you, in some ways, it's much easier than what I do. Much easier because you don't have to deal with people. People are the hardest part of this. Okay, I've got some questions here on TikTok. Let me just go ahead and answer some of these. Somebody said, Allie said, let me pin your comment here. Allie said, what are some of the certs I should obtain to get into this section? Okay, so let me rephrase your question. You mean what are some certifications that I would recommend to get into to do GRC? Some certifications that I would recommend. It kind of depends on where you're at in your career. If you're just starting out, like you don't know anything, you have no experience, you don't know anything, you're coming, you've seen this, and you're like excited that you can get into IT because into a field that you don't have to do a lot of super technical stuff. So if that's you, then the first certification you should probably do is a CompTIA A+. Like, you should start off from scratch. You should learn the fundamentals of IT first. And then you're probably not going to get your first gig as a cybersecurity position. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's improbable. I do know people who this was their first job doing GRC, and it is possible. And I could show you some ways to do it, especially if you're in certain industries. But I would say probably your first certification, if you are coming in off the street, you don't know anything whatsoever about IT, is to learn IT fundamentals. And CompTIA A+ has one of the greatest curriculums for learning basic IT. It was my first certification. I'm not telling you guys to do something I haven't done myself. And it's pretty marketable for beginners. Now, if you're not a beginner, you've been in IT for some time, maybe you worked on a help desk before, you worked in technical support, you know your way about a computer, maybe you're a geek, you build your own computers, you don't need A+. Like, if you already know basic IT stuff, you're a network engineer, you know networking, or even you're just a super geek and you just know this stuff, you don't need A+. Like, don't waste your time with A+. It's a waste of your time if that's what you're going to do, unless you want to go through the curriculum to like tighten up the lingo and stuff, then yeah, sure. But you don't have to take the cert. Just go through the learning. I would say go to Security Plus would be the next certification. Like, on the next rung, you know IT, you're a super geek nerd, and that's all you do. Then Security Plus is probably the one you're going to want. The reason why is because it's highly marketable. Most organization and HR departments and recruiters know what that is. And it can land you with experience, a background in this, and project experience, skills. It can get you into some positions where you're doing more security type stuff. Not making any promises. The job market is pretty crazy right now. It's all over the place. But now, if you are in this field already, let's say you've been doing IT for 3, 4, 5 years, you're ready to level up. You should probably go for a CISSP, a CRISC, or a CISA. Those are some of the top certifications for doing GRC work, but there's others. There's another one, CISM. Another one is CGRC, and there's a few other ones, and those it's a broader umbrella, and it's going to allow you to level up faster. All right. Hey, thank you for that, Ruki. I appreciate you. How did your, we'll talk later. We'll talk later. My man, Professor Black Ops. How you doing, sir? Mr. Professor Black Ops in the house. If you guys didn't know, Professor Black Ops he talks about governance, risk, and compliance, cybersecurity, and AWS. So this is one of my resources, one of my OGs. I go to him when I'm looking for stuff about real world. And he's like me. He does this. Like, this is his life. He's a lifer. He's doing IT stuff, and he's got a YouTube channel. If you guys are interested in AWS plus security, then this guy, you want to check him out. Rookie, how you doing, ma'am? Appreciate you. Thank you for that $10. Security expert says definitely agree. CompTIA A plus and Security Plus should be the first for beginners. And you know, the reason why I promote it so much, I don't have nothing to gain by it. They don't pay me any money. You know, it was literally my first certification. A plus certification was one of my first certifications. The CompTIA curriculum, I found it so, the way they break it out is so effective that I've just been impressed by it. So if you're an absolute beginner in IT, I tell people to go there because the curriculum is good. Now, you could, like, if you can afford to go to college or something, right? If you have the time, money, energy, or something, go to probably a degree. I mean, because it's going to give you more time, more networking. You can spend time like to develop your skill set and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, of course. Go for a degree. You know, I'm not one of these people telling you not to get a degree. Do you have to get a degree to get in this field? No, you don't have to, but it's going to increase the likelihood of you getting a job if you do get a degree. But if you don't have those options, like not all of us do, I would say go ahead and, start certifications. Let me see. I got some folks joining me. I appreciate you guys joining on TikTok. I'm addressing several different people, so that's why I haven't gotten to your comments yet. I'm going to start from the top, work my way down on any kind of comments. What company do you work for? So I work for a contractor that's based out of the DMV area that has a contract with a government agency. They're called it's an organization called Steampunk. I don't like to advertise because I like doing these videos, and some companies are real weird about you doing stuff online. So the company I work for is cool with it. I see some of my coworkers online and stuff. I'm very apprehensive about it, about talking about it. And every now and then I'll mention it. It's not like it's a secret or something. I'm a contractor working for a company called Steampunk, and they have a contract with a government agency. So the way the they're acting really weird right now. Really some CCP type stuff. It's really strange. I've never seen this before. It's getting to the point where I'm like, it's like you can't have freedom of speech. Like, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. Like, watch the news. That shit's real. It's like, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it's really strange. I've never seen anything like this. I've been through 5-6 presidents, and this is like the weirdest shit I've ever seen. So that's why I don't really want to talk too much about like where I work and all that kind of stuff, because I need this job, unfortunately. Let me see. Dang, I had an idea of making an RMF control video series, but you beat me to it. No, man, the more the merrier. Like, the thing is, I don't have a monopoly on this. Like, there's really not enough people talking about risk management framework. And then there's like 100 different frameworks. There's 100 different frameworks, like there's not enough videos for people talking about SOC, Sarbanes-Oxley, PCI DSS. I've been trying to like encourage people to do like courses and stuff. I want to do a course with Larry. Larry's on here all the time. Larry is a project manager. I would love to do a course and videos with Larry where we talk about project management, because that right there is really cool. For a lot of people don't even know about it, and to hear from somebody who's in the field doing it from their perspective, it's priceless. And that's why I keep doing this, because when I talk about my actual experience, there's some kind of connectivity that happens. Like there's something you can't translate from just reading a book. When you tell somebody, here's what I did, it's way more personal, and it allows people to completely understand better than if they just read it from a book or read it from. Everything I'm saying is free. Like right now, you can go to NIST.gov and have a breakdown. It'll break down thoroughly all the control families, all the categories of NIST CSF, every single security control category in NIST CS in the special publications is all out there. But when you're reading it from academia, and sometimes it just doesn't click, and it's not fitting into what your current situation is. I know this because I've been doing this 20 years. And I'm telling you, I've read the documents. I've had to go. I mean, in my job, I've got to go and read the documents. Because I have so much experience, I'm looking at all my experience. I'm like, did we do this before? Yeah, we did this from the DOD. We did this at NASA. Okay, this is how we should do it here. And then based off of my experience, I'm like, okay. And sometimes I got to go to my OGs. I got to reach out to them and say, hey, man, did you ever have an issue like this? Because when you hear from one of your peers who've been doing this for a long time, it's very, very different than reading it from a book that you don't even know. Like the context is sometimes is not there. So the more videos that we have, the more people speaking directly, eye to eye, speaking to one another and telling like, yeah, this is what I've done. This is the truth. This is what we need. Authenticity. We need more people who have similar experience and context as us. People who look like us. That's another thing. Like you, whatever you look like, that voice needs to be said. Like the more people that we have speaking about this, the better. There's just not enough people. I think that there's a lot of big influencers out there who are kind of huge voices that are talking about GRC, that are talking about cybersecurity, that are huge influencers. I see them on LinkedIn. I see them killing it on YouTube, killing it on Instagram. And I'm not shitting on them. Like there's some great influencers who have great content, but we need more diversity. We need more people who are brave enough to come on camera or not even on camera. Like you could literally just do it and then speak right with a clear mic and then show some slides or something and say, here's what my experience is. And then answer comments. Like people ask you questions, you go in and you answer questions. So yeah, you should do it. And if you need help to do it, man, I'm here for you. I'm here to help. The more people we have who are authentic, who do this work, who are willing to speak up, the better. I mean, every now and then I get some people, it's rare, but sometimes I'll have people come on and say, Bruce, you're wrong about this and you're wrong about that. And why are you saying this stuff? And then I'll go to their profile. They don't have no videos. They don't have no content. They're not saying nothing. I'm like, well, if I'm wrong, what is the answer then? You tell me, like, what is your experience? I would love to hear it. And that's not me being facetious or nothing. That's me saying, like, seriously, there's not enough people who are want to be authentic and say what's really going on here. And this is a very important job. This is the reason why so many organizations are getting hacked. This is why there's so many breaches. This is why people are putting sensitive information on Signal, because there's not enough education on it. They just don't know any better. Not enough people are brave enough to come forward and say, this is why we're doing this. This is a security best practice. Here's why we're doing it. And because nobody's speaking out, you've got all these breaches. I think that America's knowledge, our personal information, along with the secrets of the U.S. are up for sale because nobody's teaching this stuff. Nobody's speaking out. Nobody wants to tell the truth about what's really happening. And I'm here. That's what I'm here to do. All right, let me see. Somebody says, Stealthy says, I really want to start making videos. Got a job as offensive security analyst. How long should I wait? I don't think you should wait at all. I think you should start doing it right now. Just be careful about what you post. Like what I do, here's what I do. Number one, you should start immediately. Take action. The thing is, We as cybersecurity professionals have to be very careful with what we say. You don't see me out here saying too much about where I work or the systems I work on. You will not hear me say, it's actually, you won't hear me say nothing about the actual system that I work on. You won't hear me say nothing about it. Even past systems, I'll obscure. I'm telling you experiences, and then when I give you an example, the names are changed to protect the innocent. I need this job. I need my reputation. So if you do decide to do, as a cybersecurity person or an IT person, you're working for some important organization, be careful about system names, like program names. Be careful about dropping. It's okay to say, I work for NSA, I work for FBI, something like that, right? There's many different departments and stuff within each one of those. That's okay. But you don't want to start talking about what programs you're working for. Don't do that. You don't want to put necessarily what I'd be reluctant to even put like clearances on there. I'd be reluctant. Don't put like actual locations. Don't, just be very careful with what you post. Um, it's okay to talk about your experience, but don't say specific names. That's what I do. I mean, it's obviously it's all right if you talk about, well, we use Kali Linux, and this is because it's usually best security practices, right? It's usually best security practices to you if you're doing offensive security on how you attack a certain system. It's best practices. There's a whole best practice on how you do that and stuff. So it's not like you're giving away secrets or something. What you want to be careful about is if somebody could use the information that you're putting out to exploit a system you work on, or even a partner to a system you work on, or a supplier or a vendor that you work on. You don't want to give specific details. If you know those details, you don't want to, I'm very, 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 very careful about that kind of stuff because I need this job. I need my reputation. If I started saying a bunch of, Edward Snowden type stuff, right? Like I better be ready to run. And that's not me. I'm not trying to do any of that. Not saying that, what he did was, he did what he thought was right or whatever. The whole thing is a whole nother conversation. That's not, I'm not really privy to talk about that kind of stuff, but that's a whole different conversation we could talk about another day. Larry says, firsthand accounts on adjunct instructor in college and industry professionals with social media platforms have been huge for broadening my technical skills and awareness for sure. Yeah, when I didn't have a lot of stuff when I started out, and then when I started going on the internet and I was looking for more information because we had a specific situation that we were trying to, I don't know, validate a system, right? And I was like, man, how do we do this specific? And then I started going and searching it. I started looking on Google and saying, like, how do you search? How do you find? I'm trying to figure out how to do this validate this specific thing with this, and then the information wasn't there. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is a major federal thing we're working on. Like nobody's talking. There's no information about this. And it wasn't like I was trying to look for a specific name of a system on a specific program. I was trying to figure out, at the time we called it certification and accreditation. And there was a certain, just like you have different functions or different phases you go through, whether it's system development life cycle, or if you're talking about risk management framework, where it has different steps an organization goes through. I was looking for stuff like that, like not even specific information. I was like, okay, I'm on this validation phase. What comes first in the validation phase? And I couldn't find any information on that outside of the directives that are publicly available information, by the way. It's not like it's locked in a vault in the Department of Defense. It was publicly available. It's like for everybody, right? You can't exploit a system based off of a directive or a policy unless you put specific information in there, which you're not supposed to. So I couldn't find that information. So that's why I started talking about it, because nobody else was talking about it. And then what's crazy is I put it out there on a blog way back in the day, and people start reaching out to me. And it turns out I was the only one talking about it at the time. I mean, not anymore. Now there's influencers who talking about all different aspects and stuff. It's gotten GRC, has gotten it's over flooded. Like, there's so many people talking about it. There's not enough demand. I don't even know why we talk about it. There's no money in it unless you're one of the top 3 people talking about it, or you're doing stuff directly for companies. There's not that much money in the lower aspects of GRC. There's a lot if you're doing company to company. There's a whole bunch. Not enough people doing it. That's for sure. DoD CIO wants to eliminate risk management framework. What are they going to replace it with? This is a great comment. I like this. So what is their plan? Are they trying to do something else? Trying to do something faster, or what? Because either way, you're going to need some type of governance, risk, and compliance. I think that the argument is that it takes too long to do it. They want more automation. So you could automate the risk management framework process. Right now, the organization I work for is trying to do the same. They're not eliminating risk management. They're not talking about that. But what they're doing is trying to automate as many things as possible and integrate AI, which I don't think is a bad idea. But trying to eliminate all GRC is just freaking crazy. That means the CIO does not know what the hell they're doing, which wouldn't surprise me in this current administration. I don't know what they're doing. They talk about meritocracy. I'm going to talk about politics for 1 minute. They talk about meritocracy and getting rid of DEI or whatever, equality and all that stuff, right? But then they go and hire a bunch of people who do not know what the fuck they're talking about or doing. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what? This is not. Yeah, but if they could, I don't think there's anything wrong with automation and being more. I think it's a great idea. They're not going to hire more people, so okay, let's make our job easier. Let's automate as many things as possible. Let's bring AI into this. Sure. Right. If you're not going to hire anybody, then okay, let's figure out a way to do all this stuff faster and more efficient. Larry says, very big reduction in a lot of programs across my agency. 50% was the threshold, and that was set. Huge push for AI. Yeah, your organization, like I'm hearing one of the most slashes are coming to your organization. So yeah, that's crazy. I just wish they were smarter about it. Wish we had smarter people doing it. I know people think that they're the smartest people on earth, but for me, that's an indication that you're not. Because you want to rely on your team. Your team's supposed to be smarter than your team is collectively is going to be smarter than any one person. So I don't know why this current administration doesn't understand that. It's kind of crazy. Any success that they have is derived from the people who they hired, because they can't do it all themselves. That includes Tesla. Tesla's a dope ass car. First time when I was in California, like a couple weeks ago, I was with my cousin. She has a Tesla. And the first time I drove in one, I'm like, damn, this thing is dope. I hate to say it because I'm not a fan of that dude, but oh my God. It's a dope ass car. But it's dope because the people who made it. It wasn't Elon Musk didn't do it by himself. Okay, anyway, let me answer some more questions. Are you okay with cybersecurity professionals coming on the live and sharing experiences? Hell yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. I am. I'm going to do more of that. Those seem to be really popular, so I should probably do more of those. I reached out to a a couple other cybersecurity professionals, and I would like to talk to them. Maybe I'll talk to Professor Black Ops or somebody else about having more like breaking down, going through some of these things. I would love to interview more people. Z says CSIRT analyst here from DoD. If you want to check my LinkedIn to verify. Z, right now I'm on a live with several other. I'm on several different platforms, so it won't work on this one. So maybe what I'll do is maybe I could try it. I wonder if they will be able to hear you on YouTube. I don't think they'll be able to hear you on YouTube. So if I'm gonna do it, maybe what I'll do is do one specifically on just TikTok and then share it out to the other platforms later. So just follow me. I'll do more of these, and maybe what I'll do, I think what I'll do is I'll do one specifically on TikTok so I can actually take lives and we can just like go back and forth and stuff. Because I love to learn from people who jump on here. Stealthy Cipher says, is speaking a common infrastructure like Microsoft Defense in Azure, etc., okay to talk about? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's okay to talk about. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I understand the concern about being an influencer doing cybersecurity. I get it. When I first started, I was a little nervous about it. But when I thought about it, I'm like, well, I'm not talking about any kind of programs. I'm not mentioning the program names, right? And I know that's a no-no, especially if you work in the military or intel space. I don't mention any. I don't even put that on my resume. I don't put sensitive information on my resume. And then I was thinking, okay, well, what else can I talk? Obviously, you can't talk about specific servers, with the name that you work on, So what is okay is talking about the applications everybody uses. You could talk about Microsoft, obviously Defender, all the products and services that are in AWS, in Azure. You can talk about all of those services, because think about it, they're common practice, best security practices that everybody's supposed to do. But the thing is, they're not used everywhere. So and it's surprising, but you'll say something, and to you've been doing it for years in several different organizations, but it'll be new information for somebody else and for whatever reason, right, their organization isn't at that maturity level yet. They're new to this space and they just got in. So you're saying something revolutionary, and for them it's revolutionary, but for you've been doing it for years. You could talk about common IT things. So you could talk about best security practices. What you don't want to do is make it so that somebody could take the information that they learned from you and then go attack your client or your customer or someone you don't want to do that. Like, and the thing about cybersecurity is you're given a lot of sensitive information, so you could do that. And there's been some cybersecurity people who've done shit like that. I need this job. I'm not trying to burn bridges. Like I respect the field. I respect. I don't always agree with the organizations I work for. I worked with the Department of Defense under George W. Bush. They attacked like how many countries? I mean, it's history now, but how many countries you think I agreed with all that shit? I didn't. I don't agree with a lot of shit the U.S. government does. A lot. But I respect the position that I'm in. I respect the need to uphold confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I'm not trying to burn down the bridges that I crossed to get here. You know what I mean? Like I would respectfully bow out and not talk about any of it before I did anything like that. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way I think about it. And Z says, do you find cyber influencers who haven't actually worked in the field to be disingenuous? To be honest, I don't watch a lot of their content. I don't I'm not watching a lot of their content. There's a couple of IT and cybersecurity people that I watch. I watch Security Now. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. That's a really good one. I've been watching that one on and off for years. Security Now is good, by Louis Lepore, and Security Guy is he's dope. And Twit, they also run Twit TWIT, This Week in Tech. Coming back from, like, they used to do G4 TV. That's a long time ago. Who else do I listen to and read? There's this dude named Bruce Schneier who I watch his blog I read his blog every now and then. He's pretty big cybersecurity guy. Bruce Schneier got a weird spelling. Schneier. It's a really weird. There he is. American cryptographer. This guy's got good stuff. He's the inventor of Bluefish, Twofish. Yeah, I read some of his stuff. He's got a blog that I'll watch every now and then. Here it is right here. Good stuff. Really, really deep understanding of IT. It's a guy like a programmer for cryptography. He's a cryptographer and a programmer and shit. So I can barely understand what the hell he's saying sometimes. But yeah, this guy's stuff. Who else? What other cybersecurity people do I watch? There's not many. There's another guy, if you didn't know, Professor Black Ops. And I watch Professor Black Ops because I've recently started getting into cloud, and Professor Black Ops does cloud stuff. He works for the IRS. So this was right down, like, this is right the type of awesome stuff that I wanted to hear about. And so here's Professor Black Ops. I watch him on a regular basis because I'm trying to learn, like, how to apply AWS and cloud technology with compliance. So he's a great guy to follow. There's a couple of TikTok people who I watch. There's a Linux guy. I don't know their names, but I'll just watch their stuff and I'll follow them, and I really like their content. There's a few different. Do I find them disingenuous? I wouldn't say that. If they're trying to push a course too hard, then sometimes I'm like, I don't want to watch it. But if they're giving out basic knowledge, I'll watch it. So there are a couple who are kind of like, I could tell they're not in the field. Or here's a big one. There'll be a software engineer or a firewall guy or something, and then they'll start talking about GRC stuff, but they don't really know GRC stuff. There's stuff like that, and I don't know, like, the thing is with GRC is it's so broad that you've been exposed to it, regardless of, like, if you're a software guy, if for in their defense, if you're a software or firewall guy and that was what you did, you are super technical, and now GRC is popular, so you're talking about it, you could totally pull from you could think back to all the times you've had to protect, I don't know, software libraries or something, and then you could link that back to some GRC stuff. So actually, I think that's very valuable experience if you really think about how to integrate it into what you're doing. So there's nobody who I watch and I'm like hating on them. Like, I just don't. For me personally, if I hate up on a person, I'm just not gonna watch them. I'm not gonna give them my views. I'm not gonna give them my clicks. I'm not gonna give them nothing. Like, I'm not gonna participate. I'm not gonna talk shit about them. I'm not gonna give them any kind of, like, at all. That's just me. So I don't watch any disingenuous people. I should put it that way. Do they exist? Hell yeah, they exist. I'm not watching it if I feel like it even the slightest hint that it's disingenuous or they're just trying to, it's a money grab and they're actually an IT person who works in another field, but they're getting in on this. Oh yeah, I got to talk about cybersecurity. I'm just not going to watch them personally. I'm not going to talk shit about them or nothing, because you can, like, actually any field, if you're from any kind of walk of life, I believe that you could actually pull from, think about policies you had to be a part of. Think about times you had to be a part of the governance side of the house, the management side of the house. Think about when you guys had an audit. You could pull from that experience and you could be genuine about it and tell people what you went through, and it would be dope. Somebody asked me, random says, do you need to be good at coding to be in cyber? No, you don't. So I'll give you my own personal experience is, I've been in this field. I've been doing IT since I was in the military, which was a long ass time ago. I'm going to date myself, but 2000 is when I was in the Air Force. That's when I first cross-trained into, I was a cop, and then I cross-trained into computers. And I could tell you, no position that I've had required me to have programming or scripting. And I've been doing cybersecurity since that time, on and off since that time. Mostly cybersecurity, though. There was a couple jobs that had nothing to do with cybersecurity that I did. I was a field tech engineer, and that job, my coworker knew code, thank God, but I didn't. That job probably I should have known code and I didn't. But in this job in cyber, I haven't. You're probably wondering, like, well, how can you not know how to program, but you're a cybersecurity professional? How is that possible? Let me explain. So my very first job doing purely cybersecurity stuff, GRC in particular, was I was a message technician, and I was a what we call the ComSec officer, which means I managed crypto keys. There was no need for us to know any kind of programming at all. No scripting was required. What we did was we checked the validity. A message would come through, it was a classified message. We checked the validity of the message. We made sure that it was going to where it needed to go. And then we also managed crypto keys, and we did some other things, all in a skiff. If the computer broke, we would fix it or whatever. You don't need to know programming to fix a computer unless it's the code on the back end of an application or something. So in that job, my very first job, doing purely cybersecurity, GRC type stuff, I didn't have to know how to program. And then the second job I had when I got out of the military, and I was a field tech doing like Unix and some weapon system, all this kind of stuff. And no, we didn't. They hired me knowing I did not know how to script or anything. And they hired me. My coworker, he knew how to do scripting and all that kind of stuff, right? And that wasn't even our job. We had programmers who were doing that. That wasn't. He just happened to know how to do it, so we would help them with some of their code that was messed up. So that's my second one outside of the first one outside of the military. What else did I do? Fast forward, like I was an information system security officer working for the NASA. I worked for Ball Aerospace. I worked for DOD, Air Force, Army. I worked for a whole bunch of different companies, a pharmaceutical company. Not one of those jobs, most paid six figures, did I have to know programming. What was I doing? I mean, for the most part, I was doing vulnerability management, which means we have all of these different applications on our network, and we have to make sure that they're not end of life. We have to make sure that they're updated and patched properly, which does not require software engineering of any sort, unless you're actually making the software and then you have to update the patch or whatever. You have to make the patch or whatever. No, in all these jobs, they were hard ass jobs, but I didn't have to do programming. I wasn't a part of the gig. So no, you don't have to know programming for cybersecurity. And I'm just telling you from my personal experience. Is it great to have programming? Hell yeah. If you know fucking Python, you are the shit. I mean, if you know fucking Python, that is incredible, man. Like that's gonna really help you, and especially now with AI. You know, scripting, you are the shit. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. It's awesome to learn. It's awesome to know. It's so dope that right now, this late in my career, I'm thinking about doing a whole going deep into Python. That's how dope it is. But have I had to know it? No, I haven't had to be good or know coding at all whatsoever. Experience and degree certifications, which ones get you hired the quickest? A CISSP for a certification will get you hired super fast. A degree, any kind of computer degree, but they'll accept a STEM degree with experience. The experience depends on what role you're trying to do. So experience is going to depend on hell, if you're a SOC analyst, they require a SOC analyst type experience. They're gonna want you to have experience in some of the tools and processes that they use. Not necessarily you were a SOC and an analyst before, but you know how to use all the tools they use. You know how to use a SIEM. You know how to create content on a SIEM. You know how to use Splunk or something like that. That kind of stuff. So GRC is different. Like, if you are a GRC analyst, they're going to want you to have experience working with PCI DSS. If you're in the retail sector, if you're in healthcare, HIPAA, how have you implemented HIPAA on medical devices, for example? In the military or federal space in the U.S., they want you to have experience with NIST 800 special publications because that's what they use. So the experience depends on what role you're trying to take. These are great questions, by the way. Appreciate those questions. Keep them coming. All right, let me see. Okay. Oh, man, I got a whole bunch of comments on here. I appreciate you guys. This is great. Okay. Security expert says the majority of cybersecurity consultant colleagues do not have programming skills. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. On our team we have a team of about 11, 12 people or something like that. One guy might not have some. There's probably one guy who has some scripting. Some. The only time I use it, any kind of scripting, is SPL, like Splunk programming language, which is like a scripting. And I don't even know it. I just go to AI and I say, okay, hey, I need to, I mean, maybe I should be ashamed to say this, but I need it to print out. Like, I need to see the last 2 months worth of records on people who misauthenticated. So I know that their event code for Microsoft there's some event code. So I Google what's the event code for misauthentication. Then I'll say, okay, I need to know, can you make me a SPL for anybody who misauthenticated on Sunday? And it'll spit it out for me. And then I'll take that and I'll put that into the SPL. Into Splunk. Z says, like AQL, KQL is useful for those in cyber who want to work in the SOC and work in threat intel and threat hunter. Yeah. So what Z's talking about is harkening back to like what kinds of and the best thing I could do is just show you guys. So let me show you what I mean by experience is going to depend on what aspect of cybersecurity you're trying to get into. So let me show my screen here. And here I am on my real LinkedIn page. I really do this for real. This is really me. This is not my real name. This is not my government given name because I'm paranoid. But okay, so check this out. But this is my real profile that I actually use to get jobs. All right, so let's say we wanted an IT manager position. So the way you would find out what kinds of experience you need, what I would do is a couple things. Like you could look at different jobs for IT managers. You got IT asset managers, you got IT program managers, all kinds of jobs. So you can look through each one of the jobs and it's going to tell you the duties and responsibilities they're going to expect you to have. This will give you an idea of what kinds of skills and experience they expect you to have. They're going to tell you what degrees they want, what they're willing to take if you don't have a degree, because sometimes they'll like, okay, we want you to have either a degree or 3 years of experience or something like that. It'll tell you the tools they use, all kinds of stuff. So that's one way you can figure out what kinds of skills in program, if there's programming involved or if there's tools that you need to know. Another thing you can do is go to actual people who are IT managers. And you can do, by the way, you can do this with SOC analyst, right? You can look at the people and look at what kinds of skills they have, what kind of tools they use. And some people will actually share their resume out and their experience, so you can actually go through line by line. My man doesn't have it here, but a lot of people do, like myself included. You can look at my skill set and you can show, it'll tell you exactly what tools I've used and all kinds of stuff. So that's a great way to dig deeper, whether you're a SOC analyst or IT manager or whatever. It's going to tell you, you can gather more information, do some intel yourself, some open source intel yourself on these different positions. That'll tell you everything you need to know to level up your skills and what direction to go. And then Callie says, but CISSP, you need to be in the field. Yeah, CISSP. So they said, hey, what kinds of certifications do you need to have? And I mentioned CISSP. I mean, it is the best one. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth, but the thing is, there's a catch to it. The CISSP is pretty difficult to do it because you have to already be in this field. You have to have 5 years of experience. Somebody has to endorse you. I mean, it's pretty hardcore. I'm just, the truth is, it is the best one to get. It's one of the best ones. Not the best, but no, it is the best. I'm not even going to lie to you or sugarcoat it. But if you're coming in cold, then probably Security Plus, right? If you're coming from another field or something like that, Security Plus is a great starting point for you. Let me see. Stealthy Cypher says Python is something I've been messing around with, and am I good? No. Is it fun? Yes. It is good to know. Hell yes. Oh man, yeah. I'm excited to learn it. I'm kind of in the middle of some stuff in my journey right now. I just went through AWS, their first certification for cloud, and then I went through Azure 900. Because what's crazy in my journey is that I just realized I was watching my man Professor Black Ops, and he was breaking down like, okay, here's how you do it. Like he started off with AWS CCP, certified cloud practitioner, and I took that. I started doing some of the projects or something. You don't really have to do projects in AWS CCP because it's super simple. It's just basically, it's a list of things, services that they have. So I was going through all the services and learning it. And as I'm learning it, I'm like, we don't really use a lot of this in our environment. I'm like, damn. And I started realizing Azure 900, which is Microsoft's implementation of cloud, is what we're really using. In the current job I'm doing now, they use a lot of it. So a lot of the services that they're talking about, we use some of the AWS stuff. And it's actually the terminologies and stuff is actually very useful. But AZ900, like just the list of all the services, we're using it. I'm like, damn, this is what I should be doing because I'm using some of these tools. I'm actually doing this stuff. So I'll be able to put that on my resume and then explain how I'm using it, how it's integrated into our environment and stuff. So I switched. I was like, okay, I passed it, AWS, CCP, and then I went to Azure 900, and I'm going through it, and I'm just looking at the paths forward because they have a whole tree of different things you can do in these certifications. And I'm like, damn, I really want to do AI. I want to learn as much as possible with AI because it's really cool to learn. And the more I dig into AI, the more important I'm seeing Python is. And I'm like, damn, it's blowing my mind how important it is. So now I'm thinking the next thing I'm going to do is going to be I'm going to do AI 900, which is Microsoft's entry-level AI, just to get knowledge on the terminology. And then I'm going to go deeper into Python. And then I'm going to go from there. That's my plan anyway. So Python is definitely the direction I'm going to go. All right. Let me see. I got more questions and stuff on here. How long have I been talking here? Wow. Okay. Wow. I got a lot of folks jumping in here. I appreciate you guys. Let me see. Questions. Random says experience in degree. Okay. I already did that. Somebody said, can you help find an entry-level GRC job, please? Okay, so entry-level GRC job is going to be very, very difficult. I would not, if you're coming in cold, like from another job or something like that, what I normally tell people is your best play is really going to be depending on where you start. And I'm just being honest with you, right? I don't want to get on here and tell you, take my course, buy my course right now. Once you get done with my course, you're going to get a job. Listen to me. Governance, risk management, governance, risk, and compliance is a specialization of a specialization. So let me just put this, I just want you to understand what you're getting yourself into. You got IT. IT has a whole bunch of different branches. IT, you can get into networking, you can get into firewalls, you can get into databases, you can be an IT server guy. Then there's different kinds of servers. You can do Linux administrator, Windows administrator, Mac OS administrator. You can do all of them. You could do virtualization, cloud. That's all those IT. Including in that big strip of IT is also cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a branch of IT. So on the branch of cybersecurity, you have a whole bunch of other branches. It branches off even more. So cybersecurity, some people say, okay, well, cybersecurity and information security are two different things, right? But that's bullshit. And the reason why, because I've done both of them. So I'm just going to tell you like this. Cybersecurity is a big ass branch, and it goes into governance, risk management, compliance. It goes into people who specialize in one tool, like an IPS or an IDS. You have people who do SOC analysts. You have cyber threat intelligence, forensics. You have all these different things coming up, branching off of cybersecurity. On each one of those has specialties in there. And GRC is one of those specializations. GRC itself is a branch that branches off into many different directions. So to say entry level GRC is almost like saying an entry level doctor or an entry level, not even a doctor, like an entry level podiatrist or some shit, right? It's like it's like there's not to compare those two, like they're completely different things. But I'm trying to give you an example of like it's a branch on a branch. So what I tell people to do is start where you are, right? So wherever you happen to be is the best place to start. Let me explain what I mean. It might sound like an oversimplification, but it's going to make sense when I explain it. If you are a nurse or a certified nursing practitioner, like you are certified, let's say a CNA, right? A certified nurse associate, whatever it is. CNA is like the helper of the nurse, right? And that's what you've done. Like that's been your career path. You're in the medical field. You're a medical biller, you're a CNA, whatever. And you're like, I don't want to do healthcare anymore. I want to do IT. I want to do GRC. That sounds cool. It's not technical, blah, blah, blah. Here, there is a path. There's a cheat code. Because GRC needs people who are in that industry. So what you could do as a healthcare professional is learn the shit out of HIPAA, because HIPAA is part of GRC. It's a governance. It's a regulation over all healthcare. So if you know that really, really well, and you know how to apply that to computers and to private patient information, you'll be 10 steps above me, who's been doing this 20 years, who has very, very, very little experience in healthcare. Because you have 3-4 years of experience in healthcare industry. So all you got to do is learn the basics of information technology, and then you already know HIPAA, go deeper into HIPAA, and then learn how you can apply HIPAA to things like medical devices, the servers within the hospital, the data within the hospital. If you know those things, you can apply some of the things you already know in that industry. And so the thing is, you might be thinking, well, Bruce, I wasn't working in the healthcare industry. Like, how would I use that? So what industries have you worked in? Because every industry has something like this. Retail has something like this. Financial sector, manufacturing, you name it. These different sectors and industries have some need for regulation. And regardless of people saying, oh, we're getting rid of regulation is bad and stuff like that, people who say that, they want to control the regulation. They're not. A good example is current administration is trying to get rid of regulation. They're like, oh, it's bad, it's spending too much money, blah, blah, blah. Do you think Tesla has no certification? No GRC? You think they're not abiding by any kind of regulation? Is that what you think? If that's what you think, you'd be wrong, because they definitely have regulation. They definitely have policies. The policies mainly in the U.S. protect the fucking corporations. I don't know if you knew that. They don't protect you. They protect the corporation. You think they don't want protection? Come on, guys. I've been doing this a long time. And I'm telling you, there's a way in. Now, I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. You're going to have to learn basic information technology. And not everybody's into industries. There's some people who are coming out of high school who've never been in any industry. You're going to have to learn from scratch. You're going to have to start where you are, which means you might be at the bottom. You might have to go and get your foot in the door at a local IT place, or your local Verizon or Cox or Comcast or something. They're always hiring people who set up networks, set up internet. Those guys are guys who set up the internet guy. The cable guy who comes in your house is basically a network engineer. They're not doing routing protocols. They're not setting up Cisco switches and routers and stuff. They're not, doing some of the more complex stuff. But that person right there is one hair away from being a network engineer. They only have to learn a couple things, and a couple of the things they already know. There's a way. There is a way, but you're not entry level GRC. That was the original question, and I'm not trying to avoid your question. I'm trying to give you some context. The context is going to be, if you're serious about this, the context is going to be very, very, very important to you. It's going to be very, very, very important to you. If you're really serious about this, like, the thing is, a lot of people are not serious. They jump on here, ask a question, and then they bounce, and then that's it, right? So if you're serious, then the context of what I just gave you is going to be very, very important. Very important. And if you ask me a direct question, like you're let me tell you the question you should be asking me if you're serious. Bruce, I'm in this industry. How can I get into IT from this industry? If you tell me that, I'll know where you are, and I'll know how to get you from point A to point B. Because you might be able to get a job in IT in your current position. I mean, that's what I did. That's how I got into this. Can you explain your new GRC community and circle I just joined? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. I completely forgot. Crazy. I'm saying it's crazy because I mean, that's probably the first thing I should have talked about. All right. So I started a new community. I've been talking about this for a long time. It's very, very new. And it's in Circle for free. And I did this because I've only been able to talk to you guys when I'm off work. So on the weekends, on Saturday, right now is the only time I could talk to you. But if you join Circle, we can talk throughout the week. There's one place where all of us can meet up and talk. So if you go to right now, you go to ConvoCourses.org, ConvoCourses.com. If you go there right now, you can sign up. And I'll have jobs popping up, jobs, remote jobs, all kinds of stuff popping up. We can talk on a regular basis about this kind of stuff if you're interested in it. And I'm just starting off, so I don't have a lot of content. I'm building content on the back end so that I'll be able to, there'll be all kinds of stuff going on here. But this is a way for us all to talk together. And the current platforms that I have, I really, really like YouTube. I like YouTube a lot, but it's kind of all over the place. Like, YouTube's all over the place, Facebook all over the place, LinkedIn. I've got all these different groups that follow me on all these different platforms, and I'm asking all these different questions, and it's too hard for me to keep going back and forth with all of them. So I like answering questions, but it would be better if I had one place where all of us can talk on a regular basis about governance, risk, and compliance. So that's what this is all about, and that's why I started this. I was trying to do it on my course, Thinkific account, but it really sucks on there. So I needed something where we can all talk. So here it is right here. This is it. I'm going to be offering free stuff. You can talk, ask questions, whatever. It's all right here. So this is a great opportunity to come in on the ground floor. People are always asking me about, my book will be free, and then, it's only free for like 5 days. And like, oh, how can I get this free stuff? Or how can I get, they miss these things, these awesome opportunities. And this is an opportunity right now. If you get in, join it, we can chit chat back and forth. If you have knowledge, like, what will happen is some people who ask me questions, somebody will answer it. Not me. Somebody from the community will answer their question, and it'll be way better than something I could have came up with. And I'm just thinking, like, if all of us got together and pooled our information, like, somebody might know PCI DSS, somebody might have a lot of experience with FERPA because they were a teacher. Somebody has experience in, name your industry, and they know way more than I do about that subject. So somebody else will answer it, and it'll be perfect. It'll be beautiful. And this is a place where all of us can share that information and knowledge. So that's what this is all about. And what I really want to do is I want to make this community to where I can have somebody like Callie, who's a professional at PCI DSS, to do a dissertation or a video or something or a book on PCI DSS and his perspective or her perspective on that, and then post it, right? And maybe even charge. Like if it's something that you spent many weeks and months on, you could charge for it. And I would host it. I would promote the shit out of it. So that's really what I want. I want something where we can all chit chat. What's the link? Go to ConvoCourses.com, ConvoCourses.net, ConvoCourses.org. All of them lead to the same. You'll see the link there. So just go ahead and join up. And I probably should have led with that. I got to be a better marketer, man, for my own stuff. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to answer some more questions here. Let me see. What do we have here? What's the link? Okay, did I just? No, okay. What's the link? ConvoCourses.com, ConvoCourses.org. Let me see. Security expert says, Bruce, given your wealth of experience, you should seriously consider AI governance. I am. I totally am. So what I want to do is understand. I want to understand AI enough to where I can speak on it well. And right now, I'm in the very beginning stages of learning something completely new. And I'm really excited about it. I haven't been this excited about technology in a long time, about something new, like this. So after a while in IT, things kind of start looking the same. Me and a friend of mine were talking about this. He was talking about, he was kind of shitting on cloud technology because it's just the same stuff. It's just remote. Basically, it's just remote somebody else's servers, So he was telling me, I don't know why it's kind of like marketing and stuff on it. But I can understand, having gone through the AWS and the Azure, I can understand the hype around it and why it's so important and why things like Netflix is on it and everything. And now I get it. But AI is something completely different. It's terrifyingly amazing. And that's one of the things that I want to start is doing a breakdown. I want to learn it with if you guys are interested in it, learning it together, learning maybe that's something, a project we can do where all of us like start to learn AI together and AI governance, the importance of it. And that's the kind of stuff I want to do. That would be so cool. Have a blessed weekend. I appreciate you. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you. ConvoCourses.org. Yep. ConvoCourses. Yeah, somebody already put it in there. Thank you for that, Dandy. Appreciate you. Is it easier to find GRC jobs in DMV area? Any tips on those that live there and look and network? Yeah, Dandy. So DMV area, for those who don't know, is DC, Maryland, Virginia. And this area is the hottest for all cybersecurity jobs because all of the 3-letter agencies for the U.S. government work there. And then all the contractors who do the work for them, the most jobs are there by far in that particular area. And what I would do if I were you to find a job is I would do this. Check this out. I would go to ISSA, and then I would look in DC. They might even have one for DMV. ISSA. So ISSA is a security group. So type in ISSA. We're not talking about ISRA. And then type in cyber security. And then type in DMV. So what we're looking for is something called the information. Wait, hold on. Let me share this on. Yeah, okay. Let me share it there too. We're looking for the Information System Security Association. And here's one for DC. They have one for Denver. They have one in basically every major metropolitan area. They have one. But let's look at this DC one. ISSA DC is going to have some of the best networking for cybersecurity in the world. So if I were you, if I was in the DC area and I really wanted a position, I was looking for a way to get in the door for GRC cybersecurity positions, I would go here. I would be very involved with this group right here because they'll have vendors come out and speak. Look at this. Join us on Tuesday, May 2025 on our monthly chapter meeting with a special guest. They don't mention the guest here, but you get the idea. So you could go to, let's see if they have a calendar. They might have one. Don't see one. Offers. Sometimes they'll have like special events and stuff. They'll usually have a meeting every week. I think let me see. Say May 20th. Yep. Here you go right here. May 20th. They haven't announced their May 20th meeting yet. Let's see if they on the 19th. Check this out. They have one on the 19th, 8:45 to 5 p.m. And they have one for Virginia. They have one for Maryland. All of them should have one of these. Now, it does cost money for some of their meetings. And this is $175 a year. But sometimes, like for free, I know here in Colorado Springs, they have one where they allowed you to come for free. If it was your first time, they would allow you to come for free on your first like couple times you came there. Or if you were coming with with an organization, like if you had a company that you worked with or the government, they would sponsor you. Sometimes they would pay your fees to be a member of the local organization. So, and if you work at a hospital or something, they might pay your fees to go to be a part of this organization. That's what I would do if I were you. Look at all these different chapters right here. Look at this. Central Maryland, Northern Virginia, Blue Ridge, Central Virginia. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. This got to be one of the most active ones in the United States because they've got so much stuff going on. Now, there's a couple other organizations. There's one called InfraGuard. I don't know if that one's still around, but ISSA is one of the best ones that you can use. And these are very, very good for networking because you don't want to rely on just your resume alone. I'm not, profile and resume is very important, but also networking, like talking to people directly, is very, very important. Still, one of the best ways to get a job, as a matter of fact. Let me see. Hey, question I used. Okay, this site's not. It's down. I said, I just took and passed the mastermind ISO 27001 cert, and I have about 10 years of experience in HD. That's awesome. Is there anything else I need to do? Is there anything else I need to do or more? Well, this is what I'll stop with this. Let me just show you guys one of my techniques for getting positions. What I'll do is I'll go to LinkedIn. I'll go to Monster, Dice. I'll go basically all the top 10 job aggregators. And I'll put a profile, full-blown profile with my ATS style resume uploaded into it. Very important to get your resume right, your profile right, I should say. And I go on there and I promote the crap out of myself by filling out your entire resume, your entire profile. And I'm on the wrong profile here. I don't know how did I get to this profile? I got two different profiles on LinkedIn. Let me see if I can find myself on here. Bruce Brown. Yep, there I am. Okay, this is my job one. Okay, so this is my real profile. So what you want to do, having just passed your ISO 27001 mastermind, you want to put your most critical skills, your most important skills all up here. And keep it updated. In your about page, you want to put as many keywords as possible about what you do and your skill set. You don't have to post. This is not necessary. Posting is not necessary. But what is going to help you out a lot, and is pretty necessary, is the experience portion. You want to fill this out completely with keywords of whatever job you're trying to get into. You want to put all your license and certifications in here. Endorsements help. So when people endorse you or something like that, that's pretty helpful. But most important thing is to fill your profile out completely. And you want to do this on Dice, Monster, I don't know, Career Builder, LinkedIn, top 10 or 20 if you're really serious, like top 20. Put it everywhere. It's going to be a full-time job. You have no job. This is your job. And then what you want to do, once you fill this out completely with keywords, is you want to apply for jobs. So let's say I wanted a ISO job. So I'm going to type ISO here, and I'm going to put that I'm looking for a job, and then I'm going to filter this by posted in the last 24 hours. Or you could probably say week. Week's probably a little bit better. And I'm going to go through each one of these positions all the way down, every single one of these positions. And I'm going to apply for the ones that best fit me, that I'm a fit for. Because what I'm trying to do is look for jobs that I fit perfectly. And then I'm going to apply for every one of those jobs. It's going to take me a while. An easy way to do it is to go to this right here, easy apply. If you have your entire profile filled out, then all you got to do is a click of a button. In a click of a button, you will find I can apply for this job right now at the click of a button. Boom. And I apply for this job here. It only has 4 applicants. And then I could go to this one. Boom. Apply for this job immediately. 2 applicants, because it was posted within 24 hours. And it's Saturday. So who's crazy enough to do this on a Saturday? Me. So I would apply for every one of these. And Monster, Dice, Career Builder, all the major job aggregators have something like this. That's what I would do if I were you, to get a job. It's not going to be easy. I know the job market is really weird right now. There's weird stuff happening with the stock market. The government is I don't know what the hell they're doing. I can't predict what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense to me. But the thing is, if you want great results, you just gotta act. Just take massive action. Take massive action, and don't be discouraged when you don't get calls back, when you don't get emails back, or when they do contact you back, but they're like, well, you're not a good fit for this. Just keep going, keep grinding. Another thing that I would do if I were you is I would go to this thing called Use Massive. Something I've been testing out, so I haven't really talked much about it, but Use Massive is an AI job aggregator. So what it does is it applies for the jobs for you, and then you just get contacts, people saying, hey, we want to interview. It does everything for you. It applies for you, everything. It's wild. So here's one right here. Got a response. They wanted to schedule an interview with me. This was a while ago. Didn't respond. Okay. Whoops. I'm not showing my screen. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is Use Massive right here. And you put all your stuff in there. You upload your resume. You put what you're looking for in your pay and all that kind of stuff. Whether you want remote job or not, you put all that in there, and then it finds the jobs. And then all you got to do is click apply, and then your inbox, it'll come back and say you have an interview with this person. You got to set up the interview. Obviously, I got to click this link and set up the interview with them. But yeah, these guys will contact me more than once for an interview. So that's another tool in your tool chest that you could use. And I think, let me see if there's any pressing questions here. Anything else? Nope, nothing else. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm about to end this thing. I appreciate everybody who joined. Thank you, Rookie, for that $10. I will talk to you guys later. And actually, if you join me on Circle, we can continue the conversation throughout the week. So thanks a lot, and I am out of here. Peace. All right. All right. That went well. That went great. Thanks, guys. Thanks, YouTube. Take care.